welcome to ET Garage. Oh, if you hear a fan blowing in the background, by the way, that's my heater. So you'll just have to put up with it because I'm not going to sit here and freeze. So, that being said, this is a follow-up video to that disappointing dyno run that I did. If you didn't see the video, too bad for you. It's on my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, share, go visit, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, this I'll give you a brief history if you're not up to date on things. This 383 tune port, and I'll leave a link to all the information up here. And as many times as I tell people that, they always ask me what's been done to it. And I say, check out the video. And what do? They ask me what has been done to it. Check out the video. That's what you do. But anyway, the short and quick of it is, the reason I got low horsepower numbers is, it's down on compression. Reason? Don't know. Speculate? I can speculate all day. Until I tear it apart, I won't know. I mean, I could do more than a compression test. I can do a leak down test. I can put oil in the cylinders and see if that raises the compression up. And then I would say it's something to do with either the rings or the pistons or the cylinder. I did notice a little bit louder valve train noise. Nothing bad when I warmed this engine up to do the compression test. But anyway, to make things short and sweet, compression's down. When this engine was broken in, it made over 165 psi per cylinder. Now it's down, 3 of the cylinders are down to 140. And 2 others are down to 150, and then I got 2 cylinders that are 160. If they were all 160, that would be fine. Even 150, if they were all 150, that would be fine. 140, but there's a big spread. 140 to 160, that's a big spread. That's not good. There's a sheet I made up real quick with a marker, in case you guys want to see it. I don't know what it is, but people, like, if I usually share these videos on certain Facebook pages. Like, I shared it on the tune port. Of course, they comment as like crazy on the Facebook. They never comment on my YouTube videos. Comment on my YouTube videos on YouTube. If you do that, that's good for me. It helps with me making all these videos. Okay? Posting your comments on Facebook doesn't do anything. Now I'm done ranting on. I mean, a lot of people did comment, well, a couple of people commented about it being too lean, and me and the dyno operator concluded that he was getting some type of air feedback on his probe, and that my wideband was correct because my wideband reads rich. And anyway, that's what the spark plug looks like. That's pretty much how they all look like, if you want to, and you can judge for yourself on that. Of course, to get a good spark plug reading, what you'd have to do is put a fresh set in, do a run on a dyno and shut it off, and then pull the plug and look at it. That's really the only way to get a good reading. But so, you know, I don't know, take it for what you want. Anyway, now that I'm done ranting on, if you think I'm not going to build a high horsepower motor, okay? I could put bigger heads on it, big cam, different intake, and this thing would scream. Make 500 horsepower plus easy. Sounds strange, but I don't want that. I want an engine that idles good, works good on the straight, and I could care less. Even though I like to have good quarter mile times, I very, very rarely go to the drag strip. I'd much rather do an autocross or a track day. And I don't need screaming horsepower for that. What I need is mid-range horsepower and torque. And even though the on the dyno graph, if you look at the last video, I'll leave a link up there. If you want to see that graph, you'll have to go see that video. That's actually about where it should run with this cam. This has a small cam. I am doing this on a budget. That has a lot to dictate what I'm going to do. I have been wanting to take this motor out and refresh it. It has about 50,000 miles on it, like I said in other videos. And so now I have an excuse, I guess you could say. I'm retired now. I have a lot more time to do this differently than the way I did it last time. That being said, I could just quite possibly just run a hone through it, take it apart, run a hone through it, fresh set of rings, clean everything up, and refresh the heads, and it'd probably be good to go. I may do that. That's probably the most economical thing to do. And it would work good, you know, as for me. If I really wanted to make a lot of horsepower, the best thing to do would be to get rid of this motor, get either an LS or a big block. And I could do that. I could do the LS probably on a budget, you know, pick up a junkyard LS and throw that in, you know, the cam and a different intake and all that good stuff. I hope it doesn't, it's in halfway decent shape when I do that. But then you got to go through the swap and all that, and you can sit there and say it's a budget, you know, you can do that cheap and all that stuff, but I know better. I've been working on cars for, I'm 62 years, I've been working on cars since before I had a driver's license. I know that anything like that, you could just double it or triple it, because by the time you get done doing this and that, and then you have to get this and that, it just never works out that way. It never does. So anyway, I got the upper intake off, valve cover, like I said, and I'm not seeing anything, any damage or anything from that side of the engine where the valve train sound noisier. So until I dig into it, until I get this motor out and apart, I won't know anything. Well, all I can do is get the motor out. I don't know if I'm gonna videotape that or not. Basically, taking this motor out is just like any other car, pretty much. I will go over some tips here. One tip is, on a C4 Corvette, whenever you remove the, unhook the fuel lines from the fuel rail, before you do that, and this goes the same whenever you change the filter, you don't have to do what I'm telling you. I'll tell you based on my own experience. Take the fuel door off, the door in the back, where the gas goes. It's 4 Torx screws. Take that off and clamp your fuel lines. What will happen is, overnight, the fuel, a bunch of the fuel, especially if the tank's full, especially, will siphon out those lines. I've had this happen. That's how I know. And if you change the fuel filter, you want to do the same thing too. You're still going to get fuel coming out the line when you take that filter off. Really, the only way to avoid that would be to disconnect the line at the fuel, go through the trouble. If you're just changing the fuel filter, you'd have to go through all the trouble of disconnecting the line and blowing air through it and do it that way, and that would keep the fuel from getting spilled on you. But if you don't want to go through all that trouble, at least remove the fuel door, clamp the lines, and this will help eliminate fuel siphoning out continuously. You'll still get some, but it won't be as bad. Okay, another tip is if you have aftermarket intake runners, large tube intake runners like these ASM, these are large tube, these are much larger than the factory ones on a tuned Ford engine. And I'm not sure about other valve covers, but the factory magnesium valve covers, you cannot take them off without at least minimum loosening these up so you can wiggle them back and forth in order to clear these, because they hit something like that. Hopefully you can see that. If you go to try and take them off, they'll interfere. You just can't get them off. You have to either take this off, which is a pain in the ass. Anyone who's worked on a tune port, taking these runners off in the plenum is a pain in the butt. So keep that in mind. Like say I wanted to just inspect those rocker arms, I gotta take the plenum off, at least loosen this up so it will rock back and forth. Hopefully you guys can see that. Rock like that so I can get this valve cover off. That's a tip I'm gonna give you. And what other tips can I give you? I can't think of any right now, but in the future, if I can, I'll let you know. So I'm going to get on with getting this. Let me see, what do I need to do? Oh, I need to get this wheel off. Need to unbolt the headers. And then after that, I need to remove the lower radiator hose. I need to unbolt the torque converter. And I need to unbolt the bell housing. And the engine mount bolts. And then this engine will be ready to come out. I don't know if I'm going to do it today. I'll probably just unbolt the exhaust maybe. Get this wheel off and all that stuff. But next video, I will hopefully have this motor out in an engine stand, and I'll start going over the disassembly and what I find. Could sit here and speculate, you know, it's the piston rings or it's the heads. I'm pretty, if I were to do a test, I'm almost certain it would do the heads. Either way, it doesn't. I could do some tests to confirm that, and you just pop the cylinder heads off and either rebuild them or replace them. But there's some changes I want to make to the bottom end, so like I said, just check back on my YouTube channel, subscribe, like, share, leave comments down below in the YouTube video, and everybody have a great day. God bless.